Since I've last seen you, Ireland has celebrated the feast day of its patron saint. No, you didn't miss Paddy's Day. I'm talking about the other famous one. Known as Mama Brigid in Haitian voodoo and Bride in England, an ancient goddess to the Celts and now to Wiccans and neo-pagans, a saint to the Catholics, a highly venerated member of the mythical Tuatha Dé Danann, and to locals in Kildare, the founder of an ancient abbey and keeper of the sacred flame. But around these parts, she's just known as Brigid of Faughart. The Hill of Faughart is an ancient site situated 3 kilometres north of Dundalk in the foothills of the Ring of Gullion and aligned to the hills of Slane and Tara in County Meath. It was the site of many notable battles throughout Irish history and is the final resting place of Edward Bruce, who you may remember from my video on Roche Castle. In 2005, there was a 12th century cemetery found here during the construction of a motorway. Archaeologists then managed to uncover the remains of an early Iron Age settlement, complete with 3 crucibles, finely decorated pottery shards, glass beads, fire pits, and appropriately enough, a metalworking site. The reason it's so appropriate to find a metalworking site here is because in the 5th century, Faughart was the birthplace of Brigid, who is, among other things, patron saint of the forge. In all her aspects, I feel like Brigid's a bit of a ditch witch herself. Her feast day is on the 1st day of February at the festival of Imbolg, and so she is associated largely with springtime, halfway between winter and summer, in the realm of new beginnings and new growth. But her closest associations are with poets, blacksmiths, the heart fire, and healing.
Goman in Yalachwan, goman in Greenwood, goman in Heres, goman in Ermwood, goman in Hoyes, goman in Hasmwood, goman in
In St. Brigid's Shrine, and you can see that Brigid has been given status as Mary of the Gale. Older accounts of this place describe it as having been somewhat primitive up until the 1930s, when the shrine to the Catholic saint was erected in its current form and fully realised as a place for Christian pilgrimage along a much more ancient route. In the Christian tales, Brigid was the daughter of a chieftain who gave away everything she and her father owned to the poor and the sick. When her father tried to ship her off for marriage, she poked her eye out to make herself less attractive, then headed for Kildare to build a monastery.
Another lovely day of standing in a field and minding my own business.
Hear me?
Good afternoon.
Your dad says you have to marry me. I was kind of worried about it, but you're not actually that bad looking.
Oh, is that right, yeah? What do you think of that there now, Gasson?
Jesus.
I mean, that's already pretty badass. But I never felt the connection between stories like this and the solemn-looking Christian symbols which are strewn around her shrine here in Faughart when I came to visit with my family as a child. I was much more interested in this magical little stream which flows along the edge of the site, culminating in a perpetual queue for the water pump in the grotto you saw a moment ago. People would come from all over to fill a bottle of the shrine's water, which is considered to be healing and sacred. Each of these stones is said to have a cure for a different affliction. The knee stone, the waist stone, the eye stone, and the head stone. As a child, I started to suspect something was up. Is she a witch, like? This notion was spurred on for me by another tale. The one about her needing to find a place to graze her animals and approaching the King of Leinster to petition him for it. Smart arse that he was, he told her she could have as much land as her cloak would cover. So Brigid tossed her cloak in the air and watched as it grew and grew before finally landing over several hundred acres of fine pasture land. This area in Kildare is what's now known as the Curragh, one of the last areas of common land in Ireland, and famous worldwide for its horses.
Here, are you the King of Leinster?
Jesus, where'd you come out of?
I need some land to graze me herd, or build an abbey. I haven't decided.
You've some chance, missus.
Go on. Be a good sport.
Right then. Take as much land as your cloak can cover.
Yeah, right you are. Cheers, boss.
Ah, shite.
It is perhaps her refusal to be pinned down as either a saint or a goddess, which makes this depiction of her on a mural in Bridge Street, Dundalk, so very accurate to her personality. To her right, you can see the stylized symbol of the bull, representing her connection to animals, wealth, fertility, the land, and in particular, her birthplace along the trail of Ireland's most famous epic tale, Anton Bo Culne. It's decorated similarly to the insular Celtic Christian style found in the Book of Kells to denote her Christian aspect, which is also represented by the triquetra pattern on her hood and by the St. Brigid's cross in her left hand. Every school-going child in Ireland has likely learned how to make one of these from brushes, and we are told about how Brigid used this method to teach and convert pagans to Christianity. Indeed, with her habit on, she looks quite the devoted follower of Christ, although the other half of this mural tells a different story. On her left side, she wears the jewellery and armour of a chieftain's daughter, and is accompanied by the snake-entwined rod of Asclepius to denote her abilities in medicine and healing. The snowdrops of springtime bloom beside her healing waters. You can see them just here, whilst her uncovered hair is adorned by a halo of fire, denoting her status as a goddess of the sacred fire and association with another magical place, the Forge. While putting this video together, I came across some footage I captured a couple of years ago for a friend who was working on forging a special kind of sword. Crannog swords, like the ones pictured here, were decidedly different in style and function from other Type II Iron Age swords found from the 5th century onwards, and would likely have been exactly the kind of sword Brigid would have given away in the name of charity during her lifetime, driving her father perpetually up the walls. So my friend Martin Troy of Ravenmark Blades told me to work away and use his footage here, and additionally he sent me this video of the recently completed piece. Nice job, Martin. Maybe skip the whole giving it to charity bit though. Charities don't really need weapons these days. Stick to money. Money is good. I hope you've enjoyed this very brief insight into Brigid and her birthplace here at the Hill of Faughart. There are festivals and stories all over the world connected to her, and they're so varied that she really could have her own YouTube channel. So I've tried to keep this video as a sort of introduction to her local connection, and I hope it will inspire you to find out more about her many aspects. I'd like to finish up now with an old Irish poem about her from dawn to bawn, Poems of Irish Women Early and Modern, a collection. It should be remembered that poetry in ancient Ireland was so deeply ingrained in our political and legal systems that poets were amongst the highest standing members in society, making Brigid a patron saint to both the lowliest and most eminent members of our society throughout the ages. This piece is entitled Brigid Buadach, or Victorious Brigid, and although it's tantamount to blasphemy to read it as Berlew, or in English, it still portrays well the reverence felt towards her throughout the centuries, and I'm sure she'll go easy on me for it. Victorious Brigid, glory of kindred, heaven king's sister, noble person, a danger to perjurers, far-flung flame. She has reached holy heaven, Gaeldom's foster mother, support of strangers, spark of wisdom, daughter of Duaftach, high-minded lady, victorious Brigid, the living one of life. Hit subscribe for more fun and witchy adventures. I upload every Thursday and you're not gonna want to miss it. Slán agus Bannacht, goodbye and good luck.